Well, welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, what annuities will do. Part 2 of our series on annuities and retirement with nationally recognized annuity expert, Stan The Annuity Man. Welcome to our second segment, Stan.
Glad to be here. Let's get the logo on the screen. There it is.
All right, there it is. Hey, if you missed our first episode yesterday, you need to walk back out. If you're just coming to our show now, you need to walk back out, see our introduction. We threw down the gauntlet. I hope you appreciate the objectivity, the agnostic. We are client-centric. Let's talk about this. Stan, there's a lot of approaches to annuities. One of the issues is, what will they actually do for you? You said in the first segment, hey, we're talking about guarantees. This is what it will do contractually.
Right, and people say, well, Stan, that's good for single premium immediate annuities, qualified longevity annuity contracts, deferred income annuities, multi-year guarantee annuities. Those are very simplistic contractual guarantees. The question then is, how about indexed annuities or variable annuities? I still think you should be buying those for the contractual guarantees of the policy. Now, that flies in the face of a lot of people out there, but I still believe annuities are will do, not might do products, and you should never, ever, ever, ever buy one based on a hypothetical return scenario.
Okay, so when I'm shopping, most people are saying, what will it do for me? What will it do? You have to say, well, what do you want it to do?
Well, exactly. I said, yeah, what do you want the contractual guarantees to do, and when do you want those contractual guarantees to start? From there, we take those two answers and we find that product that's going to fit your specific needs. If people come to me and say, Stan, I want market growth, don't buy an annuity.
Right.
Just straight, listen, if you want market growth, do not buy an annuity. My apologies to the variable annuity index guys out there, but you know what I'm talking about. These are contracts, and when I say they're contracts, ask your agent for a specimen policy. Every agent out there can provide you a specimen policy of the exact policy that you're going to buy. And you can read it in advance, and you can read it. The other thing I tell people too, if the pitch sounds too good to be true, if it sounds like, holy mackerel, that's the best thing I ever heard, write down exactly what that agent said to the T, how you understand it, sign and date it, flip that page around, have them sign and date it. In other words, flush out the truth.
Okay, well, and not to defend my brethren, but let's just go down one little line. I have a guy that says, I do want growth, but I don't like the hassle and the risk of the market. Is index, from an accumulation point of view, legit?
It could be, but you're not going to get market returns. You and I both know in 1995, index annuities were designed to compete with CD returns, so better than CD returns. If you're okay with that, then fine. But if you're looking for 7, 8, 9% type growth and someone's shown you a hypothetical, it's not going to happen.
All right, now, so let's just walk through it. Some of these instruments, some of these contracts have caps, or they have participation rates, or they have spreads. Nobody knows what that is. Nobody. And we explain it all the time, and the consumer goes, I'm sorry, I have no idea what you just said. So is it important, if I am wanting to get some kind of growth, and I don't want to expose part of my money to the market, you're saying it might be okay from a speaking point of view as an agent to say, I'll get better than CD rates, but to say I'm going to get market rates, that's a misnomer.
That's a misnomer, and they should also look at what's called multi-year guarantee annuities. In English, that's a fixed rate annuity. That's the annuity industry's version of a CD type product where it has a guaranteed annual yield for a specific period of time. They should also be looking at those.
Okay, let me stop you there. What's the 5-year rate, do you think that is on a
right now, at the time of this taping, 3.1%.
Okay, so, by the way, that's slaughter'sbankrate.com all day long. So, I mean, I'm all over that. Can I get longer term, and how is it worth the longer term to go to 10 with the...
It really isn't. What we're doing right now with a lot of our clients is laddering MIGAs, laddering the multi-year guarantee annuity contracts. So we'll do a 3-year, a 4-year, and a 5-year. 3 years as short as you can go. So a 3 years paying 2.1%. 4 years at 2.4, 2.5%, 5 years at 3.1%. And what happens is, everyone out there says, Stan, should I buy now? Interest rates, are they going up? That's the way to do it when you're not timing rates, but you're having money coming due every year starting in year 3, and we just roll and keep going to the higher rate.
You have a monster practice in the United States. It's huge. How many people are buying your annuities for the fixed lockdown rate?
Everybody.
So you have a lot of people, right?
Everybody.
Well, there's people that are doing it for income, but there's also people doing it because...
I would say 50 to 60% of last year's clients, let's just look at last year, were buying multi-year guarantee annuities. Short term, 3, 4, and 5 years. And you asked a question I didn't answer. 5 years is as long as we're letting people go, because if you look at the 6-year and the 7-year and the 8-year, multi-year guarantee annuity terms, you're not getting much more yield than you are on the 5 year. So the yield curve analysis, not to get caught in the weeds, is telling us 5 years is where the value proposition is. So you literally have to hold a loaded gun to my head for us to go past 5 years on the multi-year guarantee annuity.
Now, I like your laddering approach because it does take the edge off increased interest rates.
Correct.
It kind of takes the edge. Nobody's going to market time this.
No.
We don't know what the Fed's going to do.
No.
We have no idea. So laddering 3, 4, and 5, this is a strategy that you have out on your website that walks you through this. Pretty easy to understand.
Well, I also have a unique strategy called the mixed fixed ladder, which is what we'll do is we'll take a 3-year multi-year guarantee annuity, a 4-year indexed annuity, a 5-year multi-year guarantee annuity, a 6-year indexed annuity. So the 3-year multi-year guaranteed annuity and the 5-year guaranteed, and the other indexed annuities, the principal's protected, and we might get a little bit better than CD returns. That's been very popular as well. We don't attach riders, so there's no annual fees. It's a very unique and I think pragmatic approach to buying annuities now, not locking them in long term, not paying the fees, and trying to benefit from when rates possibly move north.
Okay, so this is a kind of unique strategy, I have to say. You have a fixed annuity, you have an indexed annuity, and every one you're adding a year to it. And so you're doing this every other year with an index, maybe getting a little bit more than a bank CD rate.
Correct, correct. And last year, I'll give you an example. That 6-year that we did on the index got 7.5. Why? That's where the cap was. It just happened. That was one of those years. So it does work out and it does average out. Typically, indexed annuity returns, if we look at them historically through Beacon Research, it's a little bit less than 4%. There'll be some arguments on that. But if you look at that, that's a little bit better than CD rates, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they're designed to do.
I think on the 5-year rate, the last time I looked at bankrate.com was like 30 days ago. Maybe it's 2.25, 2.35.
And the multi-year guarantee annuity is 3.1 contractual. No annual fees, compounded interest.
Tax deferred.
And tax deferred.
Tax deferred. Does it matter? You used to use the word today, cap. I'm thinking like, well, why do they have to have a cap, Stan? Why can't they just give me the return of the S&P?
Because that's too good to be true. And if that was true, Janet Yellen's job would be a lot easier.
Right.
I call, choosing index option returns is throwing darts. They're pretty much all designed to return the same. Just go into it saying, okay, my return scenario is probably going to be a little bit better than CDs. And also understand there's a declared rate called a fixed rate that you can choose as well. That, hey, if that gets high in the 3s, just choose that. Don't get fancy.
Now, when you're thinking about it, you have your mantra. I've heard you say in the first segment, you already alluded to it already. Will do, not might do. Now, make sure our consumers know exactly what they're doing because they want to be able to walk into anybody that presents them an annuity and say, yeah, well, what will it do? I want them to start using your language and make it a demand.
And this is very important. When you're sitting down with an agent, they're showing you an annuity proposal, deferred annuity proposal, like an indexed or a variable. Within that proposal, by law, one of those pages in there has to be the guaranteed returns. Focus on that page because that's what you're really buying. The back-tested numbers are really misleading because they're back-testing numbers when the 10-year Treasury were at very high rates. So you really shouldn't even look there. Look at the guaranteed numbers. Look at that page within the proposal that has to be there by law, which is here are the guarantees. Here's 0. In other words, base your decision on 0 return, not some hypothetical, theoretical, back-tested, hopeful agent return scenario where the unicorns chase the butterflies and it's all wonderful. It never works like that.
I'm thinking about when the last back-tested case I looked at gave the back-tested returns, but it didn't give the back-tested expense loads, which were actually higher back then.
Bingo.
Think about that.
Bingo.
Okay. So really, I want to know, from a consumer point of view, we want contractual. I want to know what it will do for sure. Take it to the bank, done. Okay. What it might do, don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care.
So just push me to the front page of the guarantees. That's all I want to read as a consumer.
Well, and here's the way to look at it visually. Just follow me. If you draw a line down the middle of a blank sheet of paper, this side over here is the non-guaranteed returns. This side over here is the guaranteed returns. Don't look at this side. Look at this side, okay? And by the way, insurance companies design these products so that that side of the ledger will always be higher. Why? Because they want you to stay in the contract.
So really, this is really the current company practice of rates and returns are really only a form of advertisement.
Exactly. And when people call me and say, Stan, I just bought an 8% annuity, or Stan, I just bought a 7% annuity. No, you didn't. You bought an attached guarantee that's going to grow at that percentage that can only be used for that specific solution. There's not some genius at an insurance company that's figured out how to take a 2.3 or 2.4% 10-year Treasury and turn it into 7. Okay? You're smarter than that. Don't believe it. If it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Well, don't forget to watch our next series, 4 annuity questions you need to have answered, part 3 of our series on annuities and retirement. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, and financial advisor, and Stan The Annuity Man. And we have his site right on the lower third. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.